What's up, everybody? Welcome to Combat Sports Today. And I'm representing the GRP. I'm Big E. I'm here with a successful entrepreneur in the gaming and sports industry, the co-founder of Pro League Network, Bill Yucatonis. Bill, how you doing?
I am good and happy and excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, welcome in, man. We're good. It's good to have you. We're here to talk about some little bit different than what we usually talk about, but combat sports nonetheless. Correct?
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, man. You are the co-founder of Pro League Network and has been doing the Friday Night Fights, and you guys have been doing a tournament of sorts leading up to this championship you got coming up this week, correct?
Yeah, well, this is week 10 of our 10-week Friday Night Fights series, and yeah, it's been great. We thought we would take our five or so combat sport properties and put them under the Friday Night Fights umbrella. One of the things that we were hearing a lot from our fan base is more events, more frequency, and we have quite a bit going on, but we really saw the value in doing a weekly series, and love the nostalgia of kind of leaning into the old Friday Night Fights, moniker. And so, yeah, for the last 10 weeks, 10 p.m. Eastern time on our socials as well as our broadcast partners, and we're having a blast, and hopefully our viewers are as well.
It looks like a lot of fun, to be honest with you. I have a good time watching the events, but also listening to the commentators and just watching the production altogether. I mean, it's a good time, and it's different from what I normally watch, but I think that's what makes it fun as well. And a lot of times you got to be able to be open to watching different things when you get stuck in the same rut of the same kind of sports or shows or anything like that. It tends to get a little boring sometimes. So mixing it up is always a good thing, and I feel like you guys are doing that pretty well right now as far as all these different kinds of sports you have going on. If we can just talk a little bit about the different events you have going on, because from my understanding, what I've seen is that you every week you guys have been doing the different events, correct, leading
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying what you were saying just a minute ago as well. I mean, our intentionality of having entertainment value, some comedy, some irreverence, some quality in the athleticism, of course, is first and foremost. So, like, we really celebrate our athletes, but we want to put on a good show, and so it is very much by design. And with respect to the sports, we have I guess we have about 15 different properties across Pro League Network that we own and operate. And as I mentioned, our combat vertical is one that is probably by a vertical our most popular. And so what we have is five different sports that we decided to feature amongst that. A couple of our anchor sports that you're probably a little bit more familiar with is SlapFIGHT Championship, which has really built and been a momentum in that specific discipline for quite some time. And then right behind that is the property that we spun up called CarJItsu, Jiu-Jitsu in a car. It's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu rules in the facade, if you will, or the battlefield, if you will, of the car. And what's interesting from a combat side and talking to the athletes is just the way that they really reimagine or rethink through strategy in a closed quarter like that. And so it adds a different level of athleticism up to it, including what you can use to submit, your typical jiu-jitsu moves, or the seatbelt. And so that certainly has been a mainstay in the sport. And then to kind of go through the rest of the offering, Chest Chop has been, personally speaking, like my favorite this summer. It really leans into the nostalgia, using that words again, of the old Ric Flair chop,
Oh
right?
yeah.
What
Oh
we
yeah.
all grew up with in wrestling, and the base of the athletes that we use to really get this sport out to the market is professional wrestlers. So we have a number of professional wrestlers that are part of that discipline. And what's been fascinating is all of our other combat athletes, particularly our slappers, our slap fighters, who have raised their hand and say, I'm in, I want to try this, I want to do this. And so part of the construct of Friday Night Fights is it's team-based. And so we have 6 different teams that we've put together that represents a good subset of the PLN athletes. And of the teams, each week there's a different designate or delegate that competes. And so what you've seen this summer is you've seen the slappers do chest chop. You've seen some slappers even do CarJItsu, and some have been very successful and very fun to watch, because the reality is that they have MMA experience, they have jiu-jitsu experience, some of them, and seeing what you would typically only think about as a slapper, now compete at a very high level, say in the car or one of our other grappling sports. It's been amazing to see their flex and their ability, to hold their own, if they will, there. And then the other 2 sports is Coffin Wars. Was exactly as you think it is. It's wrestling or grappling in a coffin. And the funny backstory on this one is this was a concept that we kind of made up back in November of last year. We were asked by Kai Sinet and his crew as part of Mafiathon to bring CarJItsu out there, and we talked about some other sports. And so we kind of surprised them with Coffin Wars. We were testing it back in the studio, and went through a few different iterations of the coffin itself. And so we brought the coffin out to LA for Mafiathon, and it was a hit. And the audience asked for more. And so we did a couple of events after that, up to and including, we also did an event for ESPN the Ocho last weekend or 2 weekends ago, whatever it was, because ESPN saw it and they wanted Coffin Wars. And so Coffin Wars was part of this Friday Night Fights construct. And the last is a sport that we've also been doing for a while that I'll say, this iteration, this summer series has been amazing, which is tire wrestling, ultimate tire wrestling. And the structure of ultimate tire wrestling is picture 2 tractor tires stacked on top of each other. There's some grappling and control time rules. That's part of it. But the biggest rule is stuffing your opponent in the tire. And the exciting part this summer is we had some killer dunks. Some really killer highlight dunks. And so that was awesome. And so, to your point about entertainment, it'll be Slap Fight one week and then Coffin Wars, the next week, and some familiar faces across our athlete base and the different teams all competing for the leaderboard, which will culminate this Friday for the finale.
Yeah, and you definitely have some characters out there as far as all of your athletes. Not only are they entertaining to watch and listen to in the interviews and everything like that, but they're talented. I mean, they have the skills that are needed to perform the tasks that are asked of them in all of these sports in all these different areas. And so, and even if it seems like they're not the most comfortable in that spot, they pull through and they make it good. It's a good, entertaining thing to watch.
They do. And just to add one comment, sorry to talk over you.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Is they're athletes, to your point. They are, some have been professional in their own right, whether it's in the MMA circuit, specifically guys like Tim Sylvia, from UFC, right? And so people that, your base is certainly familiar with, and others they may not know yet, right? But our D1 Division I college wrestlers, and had an amazing college career there on the wrestling circuit, and are kind of building that in some different ways with us. And so they're athletes. They train just like any other athlete daily. We have a gym actually at our studio where a number of our athletes train out of. But depending where the athletes are from, obviously they have their home gyms that they're not just training, but then also compete through. And so, yeah, it's crazy, right? It's coffin wrestling. But these are athletes that take it very serious. We take it serious, and we collectively put on a good show.
Yeah, all of these different events just throw a different aspect into things like CarJItsu. When I heard about that, I was like, well, that could definitely be interesting. I mean, if anybody knows anything about jiu-jitsu, you already feel like you're in a confined space when you're wrapped up and rolled up with somebody, getting a limb manipulated in some sort, or just getting choked, or just being wrapped up and trying to get position is always feeling like you're constricted in a small area. So when you actually add that into a small area and you're restricted by the seatbelt, to start off with, that makes it even crazier to me. I feel like, so that adds that extra element of entertainment on top of skill that you need in order to be aware of all the surroundings, the tight quarters, the extra things involved, the seats, anything else in the car, all that stuff being involved in it makes you think about it and makes you kind of get excited about what the possibilities are. And then you see the action and you're just like, what would I do in that situation besides feel claustrophobic? I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's what's funny too is we surprised our athletes. I guess it was earlier this summer. We did an event with T-Pain out at Coachella. We did a pop-up studio there, and we introduced our new CarJItsu car, which is a Mustang RTR Spec 3. 900 horsepower. I forget exactly what it is. Developed by the Ford engineering team and our partners with RTR. And the athletes, first of all, were shocked because now they're fighting in this thing, but their transition to, even a more, I don't want to say compact vehicle, but a different style vehicle, was interesting to see there. And then we've also done some competitions and other, vehicles through the time. And so, your point is taken, which is you're in closed confines, but then the manipulation of the different vehicle types and how that goes into gameplay and when to use the back seat, when to not, when to the speed of unbuckling the passenger seat versus the driver's seat. There's a real skill to it. And it's, again, it's been fun to watch it develop because, I've gotten in, obviously know a lot of our athletes through the years, and just watching them grow up, quote unquote, with this sport. From fight one, let's say, to today, it's really fascinating to see how they've developed in the car.
Yeah, it seems like the first move seems to be something that a lot of the guys focus on, or a lot of people, even your content creators like T-Pain, and Kai Cenat, when I watch them do it as well. It seems like the first move seems to be like what a lot of people focus on, but then they get wrapped up in everything. And then they start really it's just fast paced thinking. And I mean, that's jujitsu anyway, but when you have to be in that area, it makes it so much different. But same with the Coffin Wars too, you feel like a little kid again, trying to, fight for the center of the court, or fight for the ball in the center of the court,
Right.
and except you actually have an area you have to pay attention to. So just trying to throw somebody out of there sounds like it could be fairly simple, but it's definitely not, because you got the strength of the other person working against you. You've got all this technique that you might need to implement while trying to get somebody out of there. So a lot of this stuff takes a lot more thinking than a lot of people might anticipate. Even the slap fighting, I was looking into that a little more today, and just watching the techniques that they take and the approach that they take to things. Everyone has their own style, and that's what makes it, quite interesting, and makes you wonder which style is the best. And that's why you watch it, right? So it's good.
Yeah. The on the SlapFIGHT side, it's what's also been fun to watch is these, I'll call them factions or teams that have developed, where you have these, pockets of athletes that have been training together. And guys like Frank the Tank, as an example, who's, just amazing in this sport, and, will be a legacy forever, to his impact in the sport. And, seeing him train athletes, and then, watching some of these other groups do it, they have a certain way, rotations, certainly, the strength, and there's a lot of rules. Obviously, we're just not slapping each other. So the slap location, the impact, the recovery time, there's a whole plan there. And the other thing I was going to say too is back to that first move in CarJItsu. Pay attention to one of our athletes, Ground Shark, as one person to look into, because he's kind of taken this anticipatory play or strategy lately where he waits. He almost waits for that person to like awkwardly waits. And they're like, okay, how isn't it? Why isn't it? And he's just waiting because he wants to see what that person does first. And then he can manipulate that in the way he does. And so even that's a strategy, which, people would
Counter-Strike.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So just paying attention to those small aspects of every one of these sports is what made me interested quite a bit, because all you have to do is pay attention. If you pay attention, you start noticing all these things, because these guys, they come out there and they you can tell they take pride in what they're doing. So they want to, they take it seriously, and they want to make sure that they're doing the best that they can in order to get the win, because that's human nature. You want to win, obviously. And obviously you can get injured in some of these things as well. So that's what combat sports is about, and that's what makes us all interested as well. Even this I'm sorry, I just spaced the name, the chop. I'm sorry, what was it called? Chest chop. Thank you. That one, even I was watching the different techniques they were doing on that, and it was interesting because you see some of them fail with the technique that they use, wind up hitting a face or something, and it's like, I never thought, I wouldn't even have thought to try it that way, but it makes sense. And the small area that they have to work with, it kind of makes you wonder, what else can they innovate to? How else can they change that up? Because we are used to just the old school wrestling method where you get the slap, you get the red mark, but maybe it wasn't that effective, as far as like true damage. But in this case, it actually is. And you start to see that damage being shown throughout the event. And, you start to pay attention to what makes sense and what doesn't.
Yeah, the forward, the backhands, what looks like Gary Graham, who's a professional wrestler, was our belt holder for a while. He just lost the belt just a couple episodes ago, but I have a feeling he's going to get it back. He's great. He's an awesome slapper or chopper, I should say, and his technique, it almost looks like it's a straight on chop, right? But you're gliding off, and so seeing that impact and his ability to come through like that is a technique which is different than somebody that's maybe going forward and just slapping them in the gut area or whatever it may be. So yeah, for sure. I mean, it's different techniques. The other thing I'll say, and it's the only sport right now across our portfolio, but part of the scoring is showmanship in chest chop, because we want those wrestlers to show their style. And so, yes, it's three parts basically. It's the impact, right? So the red marks, as you call it, and those visible impact things that you'll see. And then the other is cleanliness, meaning like, was it a clean match? Did they step? Did they flinch? Did they did they club? Did they do anything, like SlapFIGHT that is not correct, and we deduct points for that. And then the third is, show us you're a star, Chopper, and give us that walkout, a little trash talk,
personality.
That's what we want to see, because it's, again, by design, we want to mix it up a little bit. We don't want to take away from the athleticism at all. But we want to mix it up a little bit, and that was by design. But I think, overall, what I want to make sure that our fans understand, and new fans that come to us, is that, yeah, this may look crazy, but this isn't Jackass. We're just not lighting people on fire and doing things, for click-throughs. I mean, there is a lot behind the curtain that we focus on for safety, for structure, for the medical side, as you talked about, like athlete safety, integrity of the rules, all that stuff is like, we won't put it on camera until we've worked it through. And we have a lot of sports or concepts that we haven't developed into sports yet that are still in the lab that aren't ready for showtime yet, because we want to make sure that it has that entertainment value in the front, but the business on the back. I call it the reverse mullet. The party in the front and the business in the back, right?
That's good.
So so it's the reverse mullet, but it's by design, right? And these sports are sanctioned. There's a real rule structure, and we care tremendously first and foremost about the athletes. And I have to hand it to JT Tilley, he was the founder of SlapFIGHT and our creative director, and really instrumental in the studio every day, working through that, right, to really make sure that we don't not just put on a good show, but they're sports. And he's definitely the person that should take credit for all of that across our combat portfolio in particular.
Yeah, and all the production parts of this too, that you can see on the screen, like during slap fights, if they do have a penalty or a foul, I'm not sure exactly which one you call it, but there's a little spot at the bottom that'll tell you if it was clubbing, if it was stepping into it, if it was anything like that. It's all there for you to see as well. And then you have people involved too, like we mentioned Kai Cenat, we mentioned T-Pain, but we see you have Mark Coleman from everyone knows Mark Coleman if you're into MMA. I think, was it Randy Couture at one point in time was in there as well. And then Mayhem Miller was in there commentating. So, I mean, you got a lot of recognizable names and people, mixed in there to, kind of help with people being able to just relate to it all, coming from this world where we're into just MMA for the most part. But yeah, so I mean, all of it's very interesting. If I could ask, what's your favorite event out of this gauntlet that's coming up? Do you have one?
Well, just to talk about the Gauntlet for a second. So the Gauntlet is it's a multi-sport. So it's basically a roll-up of all of the sports that I walked you through. For one, there's a designate athlete from each team, and they go through all five. So they're going through all five, and so there is really no favorite per se, because it's part of the overall structure. I think favorite again is just from an entertainment. I'm loving chess shop. It's just so fun. But I can't ignore other sports.
Yeah,
they have a great place in our portfolio. But yeah, though the Gauntlet is we have 6 of our biggest and baddest athletes, and the point structure. We've had to run a leaderboard all summer. And there's definitely teams that are higher in the standings right now than like the gold team, as an example. It's at the bottom, but you'll see on Friday that the point structure is going to give everybody a chance, and there's going to be a real gauntlet. These athletes have to go all the way through. I don't want to spoil all the details because there's a couple things we want to say for tune-in day. But it's a great opportunity to see all the sports together. And now, mind you, it'll be abridged versions of each, but you'll be able to feel all of it and feel that athlete have to progress through all of those in one felt swoop, one felt session. So that'll be interesting to watch, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top.
So have all of these athletes competed in every single one of these events, or is there some that maybe not have competed in some of these events?
There's some that haven't competed in portions of.
Okay.
The slap portion for many reasons, it will be a modified version of SlapFIGHT. But yeah, everything else will be there'll be defenders at each of the stations. And again, I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, it'll go all the way through, and that's it'll be awesome to see. So yeah, to your point, there'll be some people that will have to think about on their feet. And again, safety, like, the athletes have been prepped, but think about on their feet, how they're going to navigate this. Like any gauntlet style thing, like where are they going to put a little bit more on cruise control versus to really have to dig down deep, to get through this part of the gauntlet. And some of this will come through experience. Some of it could just be through a fatigue or opportunities, right? Where they're in a certain situation, say in CarJItsu, and able to get a submission and able to, sort of pick up some time from that. So yeah, it'll be some interesting strategies, all the way through.
And as far as this gauntlet coming up, where exactly is like, I see that we can watch a lot of these events and the lead up and all that coming up on YouTube.
Yep.
Where is that primarily where you're going to be broadcasting this event, or is there other portions involved?
Yeah, so we have a network of broadcast partners that Friday Night Fights has gone out to all summer. So we'll be on our socials on the Pro League Network and SlapFIGHT and some of our other social channels. So you'll be able to tune in there. So you can go to the Pro League Network YouTube as an example. We it'll also be from a TV distribution perspective. Anthem, which is Fight Network. They're a great partner of ours. So you'll be able to watch it on Fight Network Live. As well as Bally's and Stadium, there. And then we have a number of really interesting and passionate co-streamers that will also be part of this as well. And they push it out to their network. People like Joe Bartolazza, as an example. Joe Bart was in studio last week with King Wools, but he'll be co-streaming Friday night, so you can enjoy, if you like his style and his energy, on top of JT and Mark. You'll be able to pick that up on Joe's stream, as well as other big names like Miskiff as well, who's one of the legends in the streamer world. So yeah, we have a lot of creators that we work with that are part of this, so yeah. But I mean, Pro League Network is your easiest tune-in spot, just for recollection. But you'll find us a lot of places this Friday, and we do hope you tune in. It'll be good. We figure about a 2-hour show Friday. It is a live event. And it'll be exhausting and exciting because everyone's going to be chasing, that title. And I think there's good opportunities all the way through where we don't know who the winners yet. So that'll be the fun part.
And the fact that you made it to where even the person on the bottom of the level of points is able to have a chance to make it to the top and possibly win, it makes it even more interesting. And it sounds like it's going to be all action. So that's definitely going to bring some eyes in, and you're touching that streamer world, that, the content creator world. And that's super hot right now. Of course, we all know that. So it should be interesting. I'm interested to watch for sure. So I'll be tuning in. What is your overall outcome you want from this, as far as this entire venture with these kinds of sports and this kind of a tournament? What's your outcome? What are you looking for? What are you reaching to touch here, as far as audience, as far as overall?
Yeah, I think, well, for the Friday Night Fight series, I mean, we've exceeded our expectations, and obviously want to have a very strong finish on Friday. I mean, we've had over 100 million impressions across the 9. It's only been 9 weeks. Friday will be 10 weeks, so more numbers to pick up. 2 weeks ago we were live with Kai Cenat, right? And we brought in Voice Critical and Joe Bartolazza and some others. We had 1 million viewers that night. And so, like, really good. Like, I think we've exceeded where we wanted to be for this series. And we're announcing our next fight series, Friday Night Fight series, which will be back in September. We're going to take a little bit of a break for the next handful of weeks on the combat side. We have other sports in our portfolio as well. But yeah, for Pro League Network, I mean, our ambitions or our goals are the same entertainment disciplines. Whether it be basketball or on the golf side, we have a professional putting tour called the Putt Tour. Professional mini golf, right? That's fun. And so we'll be back to our fall series on that here soon. And so all of this, rolls up. We're launching a fast channel with a couple of the tier 1 platforms, this fall. And so that'll be a great place to bring all of our content together. I mean, we've been around for 3 years, Pro League Network. And we have, over 180 hours of live event content now across these 3 years. And so certainly enough for to program our own channel. And because we're live so frequently, a great way to continue to energize that channel. And so, like, for us, it's like just more, like more creators. We have to, like, we're doing something else. With Kai this fall, like we have a bunch of things in development on the creator side, and that's a huge focus for us right now. So more of that, more fight nights, big focus again for us. We love our combat community. We want people that maybe snickered and thought this was just a joke to maybe take a little bit serious, have a laugh, right? And come join us, because, all the things you said, these athletes really put their efforts forward and are competing in an entertaining way, right? And so we want more of the combat community to be part of this. And we're grateful for, each new eyeball that comes over and each new share that we get. And so, yeah, I could go on and on, but that's really what we're building. We're still early in our journey, but we've proved a lot, both with this Friday Night Fight series and what we're building overall. And just to go back to one last thing you said a few minutes ago about some of our guests. This is our family. Like Mark Coleman, as an example. I mean, the guy's a legend, as you talked about, right? He's been so important to the combat world, right? But he's PLN family, and we are grateful for him. He loves being there. We love him being there, and his intuition, his ability to give narrative adds a lot of value. And it's also Mark, right? So you get a little Markisms along the way, and the banter.
We love seeing him there.
Yeah, and the banter between JT and Mark, and having Randy part of our broadcast, and Mayhem, as you said, like this is like we're blessed. Like that's like we're just blessed to have their participation and their interest to be around us. And again, it's just I guess a testament, if you will, on how we think about the combat community and how we just want to do more. And so, as I said before, this isn't Jackass. We're not trying to just get a click. Like we're doing things intentionally, irreverent and entertaining, and it may not be for everybody, but we hope we get more of this, not just the sports fan community, but your community over, and we'll show you a good time.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody should just give it a chance because it's entertaining. I mean, if you don't like one event, give another event a chance, because I promise you're gonna find something you like. The CarJItsu is man, that is so interesting to me, and I guess coming from MMA world, that's probably why. But everything has a good aspect to it, so I mean, give it a shot. Watch it this Friday coming up, the Gauntlet, and then go back and watch the rest of the time leading up to this, to see what you're getting yourself into, and see what how it all is going to culminate to this week number 10, and who's going to be the tournament winner. So I feel like it's going to be a good event, and I'll definitely be watching.
Thanks, brother. I'm grateful for you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks again, and good luck with everything else going on and all your upcoming events. Pro League Network, everybody go check it out. That's it for us. Have a good one. Let me end this. There we go.